that's talking about goals, interpersonal relationships and processes. So we want to work through each of these systematically. Okay, do your teams have a name? Oh, yeah. You can talk about that as we get going. Alright, look, the group process creates this. What's that? What's this down here? Yeah, what's it all about? Team identity.
Knowing who you are.
Yeah, knowing who you are. You know, as a coach, Mal was talking before about how important it is to understand yourself. Okay, so one of the ways that we work with coaches is we help them to understand themselves through some behavioural personality profiling, because that impacts your coaching style, and obviously that impacts most other things that you do in terms of the culture you're going to create. You just suddenly end up with the type of culture that you think, well, that you know is going to be a high-performing culture, and you're going to have success. What do you think? I mean, does it just happen, or what? Well, it doesn't just happen. Who makes it happen? People have to be part of it, but who really leads in this area? Coach. Leadership. Leaders. Coach. Ultimately. You know, and those key people, those key leaders, have to really drive this. So the big lesson with all of this culture stuff, we work with a lot of teams where they just expect that the culture will emerge to be the type of culture which is that of a high-performing culture, but it doesn't just happen. It doesn't happen in a business, and it certainly doesn't happen in sport. So we've got to be really, really strategic about how we create that culture. Okay, we've got to own it, we've got to drive it, we've got to really feel like we belong to it. All right? And so, going back to this here, we're going to flesh these out in more detail. Rather than ask you all these questions right now, if I could actually ask you, so what sort of identity would you guys want as a team? What sort of things would you say? If you were a team, you have to go out and play footy. What sort of identity would you want? What would you want the opposition teams to say about you before they played you?
Are they going to be the contest very much?
Absolutely. Those are some of the things that we said. So it works in rowing too. You know, we would have these conversations. We'd actually say, so guys, you know, you're rowing at UTS. Okay, you're going to be racing the best people in the country, and then once you get selected on the national team, you're going to be competing against the best people in the world. When they race you, what do you want going through their minds? Well, they're going to be in for a fight. If they get in front, we won't give up. We'll come back at them. We're going to be well drilled. We're going to be professional. We're going to be on the best. We're going to give our best game when it counts. Okay. So, what other things would you like the opposition to say about you before they play you? Look, one of the lessons I learned too late, and I only got the benefit of for the last couple of years of my rowing career, was that if you've beaten someone, you've beaten them consistently throughout most of your career, etc. And there've been a couple of tough races, but you know, they will have a perception of what the next race is going to be like. Or in your case, they're going to have a perception as to what the next game is going to be like. Just confirm all their beliefs. So if someone hasn't beaten me, right, even if it's not in my race plan, because I'm racing them, I'm going to get out in front. Okay, and I'm just going to confirm that all their beliefs about what's going to happen during this race are actually going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. You get out in front, and they say, oh yeah, that's where he should be. Yeah, well, he'll probably go on with this and win now. And very often happens. The other lesson that I learned is that when you compete against people, you can have, even at the Olympics, you can have a 6-boat race, but maybe only 1, 2, at the maximum 3, crews in that race will really believe that they can win. The rest are there to make up some other number, 4th or 5th or 6th. Nothing wrong with that, but you're never racing everyone. Is that sort of fine? Yeah. All right. So, when we talk about goals, if you were a team, what would your goal be if you were preparing for the upcoming season? Just imagine that you're a team. You're preparing for the upcoming season. You're sitting down in pre-season, because this is what we do. With the coach and the players, we sit down in pre-season, we talk about, so, the season's finished, what did you get? All right, so what do you want? What do you want to achieve? So just briefly, just discuss it, literally just for a minute, throw around some ideas, talk about what you want to take away from this season.